Hi guys, it's time for another video. Vicky's jumping the switch again. But I was quicker than she was, as normal. Anyway, alright, so what we're doing today is we're going to do another transfer. I'm going to do actually a comparison to an idea that has been kind of passed by me, and I tried it, and what I want to do is I want to do a comparison from doing transfers on a transparency sheet, transparency film, and some people have used the little sheet protectors like for binders. I've never used those. I've always used this transparency film versus the freezer paper. So a couple things I want to go over first. Remember guys, I'm always trying new things and kind of evolving. So always check the newest video in any particular subject. And now this will be in the transfer playlist. I've got a whole playlist just on transfer process. And you can watch, if you go in there, you'll see the evolution of different things that I've tried. So, in fact, the most viewed video on our whole channel over all this time is one out of their number 230. We've got over 300,000 views on that. And that was actually a freezer paper transfer. But in regards to that, when I filmed that, I hadn't found this stuff yet. I was using the Reynolds Wrap roll freezer paper, but yet that's still our most viewed video. And somebody that had watched that and they haven't watched a new one wouldn't even know, from my videos, wouldn't even know that this is available. These are the sheets for your inkjet printer. So anyway, always check the newest information on any particular subject. Again, let's see. Oh yeah, another thing, this is not LaserJet. We're using an inkjet printer here. If you want to see LaserJet stuff, I've done videos on those too. The one that you might want to check out is Coffee and Questions 5. The reason I keep looking over here is I got my notes. 5/8/17. I think that, excuse me, that's my latest video on LaserJet transfer. So this is all inkjet, what we're doing today. All right, so I wanted to kind of get all of that out first. So here's what we're going to do. Here's the idea that actually Jerry Block and Ron Snaberger ran past me. I've only got this because I'm going to be using water, and I don't want water on my bench. So, yeah, well, I guess it's mine now.
No, well, not till you get me a new one.
You've got plenty of cookie sheets. What are you talking about? All right, so this, oh, I got two of them. So this is transparency paper. I don't know with the camera. I'm not sure whether you can tell. But it's like an acetate, I guess. And the idea behind this is to be able to use transparency paper so that when you make your image, when you put it on the board, you can see exactly where it is. The downside of the freezer paper is you can't see through it. And so you have to have a way to be able to tell where your image is on the back side. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to use this transparency.
Now, which side are you using? The smooth side or the rough side?
They both feel smooth to me. When I get done, one will be the rough side and the other will be the smooth side. You'll see that in a sec. So I'm going to use a piece of sandpaper, 100 or 120. This is just an old, I don't really use that sander much anymore, so I had one of these. So I'm using a piece of 120 sandpaper, a little bit of water. And what we're going to do is we are going to sand one side of this plastic. You want to try and make it somewhat uniform. Doesn't have to be exact, obviously, but you want to cover the whole thing. So we're going to sand, I guess that would be vertically, one way. Now we're going to sand horizontally, again, the whole sheet. We want to move that a little bit because we got a little logo on your cookie sheet there. I should have got one without a logo on it. Anyway, so now we're going to sand horizontally. Now the theory behind this, and then now we're going to sand diagonally here. We're actually going to do it both directions. Anyway, the theory is what we're doing is because I've tried transparency, and you guys could probably go back and watch, and I've tried transparency film before, and it's really splotchy with the inkjet. It really doesn't work very well. So the idea here is that we are making literally thousands of little squares microscopically that ink can set in. So it doesn't, it doesn't splotch and it doesn't run. So now we've gone vertically, or we've gone horizontally, vertically, and then diagonal in both directions. So we sanded, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 times. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 4 different ways. So now what we have to do is we have to dry that off. I'm just going to use paper towels. We're going to dry that off, and then we are actually going to copy on that side. I'm going to take it out of this tray right now. We're actually going to copy. This is not the way I envision this going, but so the rough side is the side that we're going to actually print our ink on, our inkjet. So I've got to dry that off. Now what I'm going to do is I am going to copy on that rough side. And I don't know, maybe now you can see the difference in it. It's just a bunch of scratch marks on one side of that. Now we're going to copy on that, and then theoretically that is going to work well for our copy. And we are going to, oops, it'll be dry, trust me, it'll be dry when I run it through my copier. All right, so we're going to compare that to our freezer paper. Now there's only one more step that I want to do before I copy with the freezer paper and this. And we learned this accidentally. My buddy John accidentally learned this. We're going to use actually a silicone spray, and we're going to put just a little bit of silicone spray on there. And I'll show you. And what that does, at least with the freezer paper, it causes more of the ink to leave. You see the way I did that? To leave the paper. Yeah. All right. So I'm just kind of spritzing it a little bit, and then I've got 2 pieces there, don't I? Yeah, we only need 1. And then I'm just going to kind of move it around, not wipe it all off. And then I'm going to do the same thing for the transparency paper. Transparency film, I guess. And theoretically that will cause the ink to release off there a little bit. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in on the next scene. Well, now I'm going to go in, I'm going to make the same copy on both of these, and then we're going to test them out one against the other on a board. Okay, so here is our images, guys. So this is, again, inkjet, just normal inkjet. Now, one thing that I did want to mention too is if you've got lettering, wording, then you definitely need to flip it somehow. We use Rapid Resizer, but there are a lot of programs out there like, I guess, Publisher. I've never used Publisher, but Inkscape, Corel, of course. There's just tons of different softwares that you can use to mirror image or flip if you've got to have it flipped. Again, we use Rapid Resizer, and we have a tutorial on Rapid Resizer. If you guys need that, let me know. So I'm going to go ahead and transfer this one. So again, I copied on this is the rough side. So the cool thing about the transparency sheet is when you put it on the board, you know exactly where it is. So that is the cool thing. And I brought no tape. Dadgummit. I knew there was something I was forgetting. All right, let me grab the masking tape here. I normally use my Scotch tape, but that's all right. This masking tape will just have to do. So I can see exactly where the image is going to go. Oh, by the way, this is a piece of pine, and it does have sanding sealer on it, but after the sanding sealer, because it raises the grain, I just lightly sanded it down. The other thing is, after this image is on, if you feel like you still need more sanding sealer on there, you can definitely put it on there. You can put sanding sealer over the top of these images. All right, so now, I tried this the other day with this. This is what I usually use for the freezer paper, which I will. But what I found is that you're better off rubbing it with your fingers. And I think the reason that is because if you think about it microscopically, you are looking at 1,000 little tiny squares that have ink in them, and what you're trying to do is get those squares down to compress and get them down on the board. So what I'm doing, again, I'm just going to rub with my fingers, whereas I think if I use just this, I don't think it would press the ink down on the board enough, because I tried it with that and wasn't very successful. Let's see if this transfers. And just like any other time I'm transferring, if I pull it up and there's not enough, I can do it again. Well, that's not very good. I'm going to try it a little bit more. Rub a little bit harder. Now, I just made these copies, both of them, about 5 minutes ago. I didn't use any special setting in my printer, which if you did, you might be better. I don't know. So it is transferring, but, and that is enough to follow a line, no doubt about it. I could follow a line. Again, I would have a printed version on paper next to it. I don't think this is going to really do me any favors here, but let's see. Yeah, it actually doesn't look too bad. All right, not bad, not bad. So now let's try comparison with the freezer paper. Now, here's what I suggest. With the freezer paper, what I figured out is that the big knock on using the freezer paper is you can't see from the other side. You can't see where the image is. But if you do this, that's the reason I kind of pulled my rubber mat back. I do not want to. That will smear if I touched it. That would smear. What I want to do is just give me something that I can see from the other side, so I can see where that image is. See there? Now I know exactly where that image is. So theoretically, I should be able to, and honestly, I can kind of see through there right now. I know this is the edge. Now I need to throw some tape down there. So again, the big thing about using the freezer paper that people didn't like is they couldn't see through it. But if you do make those marks like that, I think that will help a lot. I just wanted to make sure I had this shiny side down, because it does make a difference with the freezer paper. You definitely want the shiny side down. And again, I've had questions, well, how long should I wait for it to dry before I make the transfer? No, that's the wrong thing. You do not want it to dry. You want to transfer it while it's wet. I'm in a hurry, that's why that thing is buckling on me. This is actually the best thing that I found, but you could use a piece of anything that's of plastic that's got a nice edge on it. That's pretty good. That is pretty good. So, I'll let you guys make the determination on what you like better. I just wanted to do one right against the other and see what you guys think. That's the freezer paper. That's the transparency film. I'm still a freezer paper guy. I still like the freezer paper better. That's my opinion. Again, you know, everybody's got their own ways. Some people don't want to do this. They want to use carbon paper. You know, they don't want to do this. This is still my favorite way that I've found. Now, remember, again, with the laser jet, this is inkjet. With the laser jet, I like the lacquer thinner. And go back and check that that video that I talked about earlier. Coffee and Questions, May 8th, 5/8/17. But I'm still a freezer paper guy. So, again, I think this will help you guys. If you make these little marks, this is just a little ballpoint pen. If you make these little marks from the front side, it does give you some places where that is, and you can make those marks wherever you want. So this was a real quick, kind of a quick down and dirty video. The thing you can't do with this, if you make those marks, is this really isn't usable again. So if that's a problem for you, for me, it's no big deal. I'll use as many sheets as I need for my layout. So anyway, there's the transparency film process and the freezer paper. So you guys decide what you like better. I know what I like better. That is it for now, guys. We will see you on the next video. Thanks so much for watching. We would love for you to subscribe if you haven't yet. And don't forget to click that little bell icon. We're on 3 times a week, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. We do a Friday Night Live, and then where we do a big Q&A and sometimes a giveaway, that kind of thing. On Instagram every day, make a wood sign. So thanks again for watching, guys. If you have any questions, be sure and email me directly or comment on the video. My email is eric@makeawoodsign.com. If you have questions for Vicky, it's vickywithdavesigns@gmail.com. Thanks again, guys. We love you, and we'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye.